when you edit it.
I'll say, I'm Maree, so I don't bring them out.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Hi, I'm Maree.
And I'm Ilkka.
Ilkka's from Finland. I'm a Kiwi, and we met when we were both working with a Christian mission organisation in Hong Kong about 30 years ago. Ilkka had spent 5 years in Hong Kong, and I was spent 2. And then more recently, we've been in Thailand. A total of 9 years in Thailand, and we came home just 2 years ago. Hence the reason the pastor asked us these questions, I think. Okay.
Yeah, so when we knew that we were going to Thailand, we knew Thailand was a Buddhist country, so we obviously started to learn something about Buddhism. And but once when we moved to Thailand, and we started to realize that we had, besides Buddhism, we had to learn something else, and that was animism, because it's almost like Buddhism is this thin layer on top of the, and then this underneath there's this big animistic worldview that affects people every day. Animism, of course, it's a belief in numerous spiritual beings that can either help or harm humans, and that's really important part of everyday Thai spirituality. So it sort of has taken us on a journey. And probably for me, studying Bible at Carey College was the most helpful, or really helped me to prepare for our time in Thailand. Just how to ask questions and how to think, and it was really helpful. And how has living overseas changed me? Probably sort of in a funny way, living in Thailand has probably helped me to understand what the first century world was like, because I have come to realize or think that the way how people in Asia see the world and how the society is structured is not unlike the first century world. So it was a sort of blessing in that sense that that has helped me.
Some of the more tricky experiences I would have had in Thailand in this last time was when we had a friend. She was about a 16-year-old girl who, which is really cool, she wanted to give her life to the Lord, and I don't think we had a very big part in that. It was really a work of the Holy Spirit, which was cool. But then the next obstacle was, where do we find fellowship for a young girl who's 16 years old with people her own age? There was just no one. The churches were so tiny where we were in our area. So, we sort of became her main Christian fellowship. We thought, please God, keep her close until she gets to university, and then hopefully she can find a university Christian fellowship or something where she can have some Christian buddies. So now she's 18 and she's all set to go to university, but of course they're on lockdown over there, aren't they? So she was supposed to go to uni earlier on this year, and now I think it's October the 12th, but then it's going to be online for a while. So still, God has been faithful, and so is she, and she's still following Jesus. So it's nothing short of a miracle, I think. But yeah, we'd love to see some more fellowship for her, because the churches are so small and just so hard to get new people in, because to be Thai is to be Buddhist, and you can really be an outsider if you're a believer in your community. Another difficulty would be trying to interpret the cultural nuances. In Thailand, it seems that people don't really use the word no. They just are a no-show, or don't follow up with what they say they're going to do, whether it be coming around for dinner or doing a job or something.
You try to avoid conflict, so you, rather than saying what they really think, they just try to often say what they think, what you want to hear.
They even told us to be a no-show once. We had a really exciting English program going in one rural village, And the kids were so sweet, and we had about 30 kids each week just meeting in an old lady's house, and we were teaching them English. They were the sweetest group of kids, and they would see us coming and they'd be walking along in front of us, see our car, and we'd see their hands go up in the air, yay, and they'd go running to the house and try and beat us to the place. And on the last week we had 50 kids show up, and all the regular ones invited these new kids, and we had such a great time, and we were really looking forward to going the next week. And we got a message via a third party a couple of days later, don't bother coming back. Okay.
Yeah, so
Do you know why you got that message?
We have no idea. And no idea. But I guess it's times like that when our plans go awry, or what we think is great and comes to a screaming halt. You think, well, this is God's mission. And so, okay, where to from now, God? What do you want now? We grieved for a bit over that. It was really hard because we love those kids and they appeared to love us, and we were praying a bit with them, and I think doing a few Jesus stories with them, and then it was just, don't bother coming back. We got via someone else in another village. So, yeah, it's you're just keeping in mind that it's God's mission we're on, not our own. And some of the best times, I think, would be when someone who is not yet a follower of Jesus allows you to pray with them, or asks you to pray for them. I had one friend who I used to walk with most mornings. She was 70, and she just disappeared at one stage, and she got cancer of the tongue and had 2/3 of her tongue chopped out, and she sort of disappeared. But I found her, and I asked her one day if I could pray for her, and then every time I met her after that, she used to say, pray for me, Maree, and she'd stand there like this and cross herself afterwards. But it really meant something to her.
So where did she get the crossing from?
I don't know.
maybe she had come
Catholics,
across Catholics
maybe.
or something. Or,
Yeah, but she said, that's what you're supposed to do, isn't it? And I said, oh, that's what you want to do. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the special moments for me was often on Sundays we visited different small house churches in villages, and it was pretty special to sort of worship God. These village people, and it's small fellowship, might be 10 people or something, and to realize that the miracle of good news of Jesus has gone all over the world, and even in Thailand there are many people, different places who worship Jesus, and you may not have the same language, but
But there were a couple of instances. I know there was a group of about 6 people from one village came to the Lord, and they were going to church and being quite involved, and the pastor was quite excited, and then they just stopped coming, and the pastor went to visit them, and they said, well, the abbot in our local temple had said, I haven't seen you lately, where have you been? And when they said they'd been at church, he wasn't too happy, so they figured, well, yeah, maybe they should stay at their village temple and not go to church. And another couple came into another village, and the pastor was so excited to have a new couple to come to church, and then a similar thing to them. They weren't quite sure if they were ready to, give up their community to go to church and be associated with church rather than their village and their community. So it's, huge ramifications to follow Jesus in a culture like that, where to be Thai means to be Buddhist.
What was it that you think Christianity offered to a Buddhist or an animist that was different for them, that they could recognise?
I guess that obviously the power of gospel and power that God has got, especially for animists,
And I would
and
say
the security that came with that, because but probably lots of people, they do all kinds of things in their everyday life trying to appease the spirits and sort of keep them safe, and so then when you can say that there's this all-powerful creator God who is bigger than anybody else,
and he was interested in you, because there's no personal God in heaven.
and also the karma that your life is, the people are bound by karma, that you reaping the results what you have done in the past, and there's nothing you can do about that. That's just and lots of people live in big fear because you never know when your karma is going to catch up with you. You might just go one day, boom, and that's it. You had an accident or something, and it was all because of karma. So again, to say that you don't need to be fearful, you don't need to be bound by that.
Mm.
Yes.
Jesus can take away your karma. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the questions was that's not spelt this way. What helped you persevere in hard times? So, for example, you talked about that group that had been going so successfully, and all of a sudden they say, "Don't come back." What helped you keep going?
Yeah, I think it was just knowing that it's God's mission we're on, and He's a big God, and so maybe He's got something else.
Yeah. But now you're in Rotorua. You went to Thailand because you wanted to do mission. Jesus says go into all the world. So I don't really want to hear you say, oh yeah, Jesus said go, right? What is it that you think you have in Christ that makes you want to share it? And you still feel the same desire to share it here in Rotorua?
For me, I think cross-cultural mission, that was sort of a passion for that was born in me as a teenager. Just actually, we used to have this guy from the Bible Society come every year and show us movies at church about international, overseas mission work, and it just really grabbed me and excited me. And then I found when I was at school, I was sort of drawn to the exchange students, or the students that came over from Fiji to study at high school in the sixth form or something. And it just grew from there. And I love meeting people from other cultures and learning about them, and
He always is something quite similar in terms of originally. We had a couple of ladies from our church in Finland who were missionaries, and I love sort of hearing their stories, and I was interested about other places, other countries. So that's sort of and God sort of led step by step and opened doors, and I guess I never thought would have ended up in Thailand, or in fact Thailand was the last place in Asia I ever wanted to live, so that's sort of
What about Rotorua? What is God saying to you here?
For me, I really want to be involved more in the community, to get to know people, get them where they are, understand where they're at. But it hasn't happened quite yet. I don't know if I can blame COVID on that, but we've been back just 2 years now, and I sort of feel like I'm still finding my way a bit. Yeah, but we both actually have jobs that aren't in Rotorua. We live here, go to church here, but that's my heart. I really want to get in the local community more somehow.
I guess it takes time to sort of find your footing again, and you kind of start from the scratch. You have sort of been fully immersed and focused in when we were there. So obviously we got our full-time job, so it's a limit.
Why do you think it is important to tell people about Jesus?
Wow, it's a living reality. I think a lot of people these days need hope. I think hope is really lacking, and we need something bigger than us that we can put our trust in and rest in. And I think hope is really lacking these days, and Jesus gives hope.
I guess that if you take seriously that something really significant happened 2,000 years ago, and as the result of Jesus' death, this world is not the same anymore. Something has changed. So everybody needs to hear about that, and I guess it experienced it.
Excellent. Thank you. You can give everybody a wave.
Hi,